Welcome to our November 17th, 2020 Board of County Commissioners meeting. We've already done the pledge and the prayer, so we need an agenda approval. Motion?
Approval.
Mr. Chair, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Campy. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so I'm a little disconcerted here with the, if I call your name and you want to speak to an item, please let me know and I'll put you in the back of the, Herb Short. I suspect you want to talk about the tobacco?
Yeah.
So at that time? At that time or at public comment?
At that time.
Okay. David Powell? At that time?
Yeah, when public, when Jessica.
Okay.
took her-
John Burke? Yes. Yes, what?
Present.
Okay. Blair Wickenstorm?
Wickstrom.
Wickstrom?
Close.
Wickstorm. Yeah, there's no E.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
Strum. It's a Strum.
During public?
He's famous.
You're up. And then state your name again correctly for the record, please.
Can you hear me okay through the mask?
sir.
Prefer to keep the masks. Again, Blair Wickstrom. I'm publisher of Florida Sportsman magazine. It's the largest fishing and boating magazine in the state. We're in our 50th year, and for the last 21 years, we've been headquartered here in Stuart, Florida. I know a lot of you, and I think you might be thinking I'm here to speak in behalf of the freshwater bombs from Lake Okeechobee that have been wiping out a lot of our estuary inshore habitat. But I'm here today to talk about how Martin County has been doing a great job improving our offshore habitat with the Artificial Reef Program with Kathy Fitzpatrick and Jessica. It's a very important program. What you guys do is a win-win-win. With the artificial reefs, it's a win for the fish, it's a win for the fishermen, and it's a win for the Martin County economy. I don't know if you saw Ed Killer's column from Sunday, but it was fishing and boating, driving force in outdoor economy. Just some of the highlights from it: $23 billion in the state of Florida from fishing and boating, 186,000 jobs in Martin County, 7,000 jobs. Martin County, as you guys know, is the 31st largest county, if that's still correct. But maybe what you didn't know, when it comes to spending money on marine and boat and fishing, it's number 7. So fishing and boating in Martin County, as you guys know, is very, very important. So fish habitat and the Artificial Reef Program that you'll be discussing later today, if you'll remember those 3 wins. It's a win for the fish. The artificial reefs don't just gather fish for fishermen to find them. It helps grow the entire ecosystem. So it's a win for the fish. It's a win for the fishermen because people like me have the ability to go out and catch those fish. So the more we have Jessica putting artificial reefs in and offshore our waters, the better you have a chance for fishermen to come. And then finally for the economy, because the people that come here to fish are spending a lot of money. So I just wanted to thank you for your support of your Artificial Reef Program that you've, for the last 30 years. Over 20 ships have been put offshore, bridge rubble, a lot of material. And I think it's benefited the county greatly, and I appreciate your support. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Tom Pine, followed by Mr. Ted Estoffi.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tom Pine. I've been a resident of Martin County for over 45 years. I presently live in Jensen Beach. Once again, It's that time of the year when taxpayers of Martin County are forced to pony up millions and millions of our tax dollars so we can dump more sand to continue the fight against Mother Nature at Bathtub Beach. I have had bad news for the county government. We are not going to beat Mother Nature. No matter how many millions and millions of our tax dollars you dump in the Atlantic Ocean. I moved to Martin County in the early 70s, and I don't believe there was any beach renourishment of Bathtub Beach for at least 20 years. And now it's become a yearly practice. How many more millions and millions of our tax dollars will be dumped in the ocean over the next 5 or 10 years? This is not sustainable. Albert Einstein famously once said, "Insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome." Welcome to Martin County. Prior to the year 2014, Sailfish Point erected a seawall along the Atlantic Ocean to protect them from rising sea caused by climate change. Once that seawall was erected, that changed the flow of the Atlantic Ocean forever. From that point on, Bathtub Beach was doomed. We will never beat Mother Nature. I implore you, stop dumping our tax dollars in the Atlantic Ocean. This is one more example of wasted tax dollars that could be used for useful things, such as quality crosswalks at intersections on major roadways throughout the county, which are in fact required by state law, and bike lanes that should be clearly marked, but aren't. If there are any people that actually listen to the commission meetings that think we should stop dumping millions and millions of our tax dollars in the Atlantic Ocean, please call the county administrator, 772-221-2300. Stop the dump. Thank you for your time and have a safe day.
Mr. Stoffe. And that is my last public form that I have. Everybody else is kind of for a particular item, unless you, okay. Okay. Oh, I put you in a item. Okay, all right. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning. I'm Ted Astolfi. I'm the CEO of the Economic Council of Martin County, and I do want to congratulate you all on your reorganization and your new terms of office. As you all said, 4 years is going to go very quickly. I want to commend you all for all that you accomplished in the previous 4 years. I stood up here 4 years ago at reorganization with a fairly long list of things that we would like to see you work on, and I am happy to report that you and your staff accomplished all of them. I think we even added some along the way, and they've all been done. And so I'm very impressed with that and very happy to commend you and Taryn and your staff for doing all that. As you know, the top of that list was the Customs Office, which was a huge success and happened very quickly, which goes to, I think, some of the things Doug said, Commissioner Smith said earlier today about getting things done quickly. I'm here today with my next 4 years list for you. Sorry. So I'll just run through them quickly. I've given a list to Mary Kay, and there's copies for everybody. We'd like to have you address the Shoreline Protection Act and the waterfront setbacks. Addressing density transition, we saw that most recently with the Carnation Farm down in Hope Sound. Review and analyze the county RFP process. I'd like to put a public-private group together to help you work on those issues and deal with is really looking and analyzing the RFP process and where we can make improvements there. We'd like to see customer surveys done out of the Growth Management Department. That's the one office that has the most interaction with the public. And as you know, when you buy almost anything online today, you almost immediately get a survey, customer survey. And so we think that would really go a long way to continuous improvement. We'd like to see a policy developed by the county to annually contribute funds into the Economic Development Enterprise Fund. This is separate from the BDV funding. Years ago, there was a funding source from FPL, I believe was their solar plant that was meant to go into the Economic Development Enterprise Fund. Those monies were stripped away for other purposes, and as I've said often, we're at the the best opportunity we have for economic development is now, and we need to start putting some money in there. It's almost like a repair and replacement budget, right? You got to annually put some money in there, so when you do need it, it's there. We'd like to see the renovation and constructions of the fire stations completed. We've been big advocates for bonding money when necessary and when it's low cost, but you've got to spend that money on the projects it was meant, not just pay the interest while it's sitting there. You got to get those projects done. Those are important aspects for our community. And lastly, but not necessarily least important, is to take full advantage of the recent RFP that's been issued and I believe awarded for an economic development market analysis and strategies to ensure that the county has a 5-year roadmap for economic development. And so, as you know, our mission at the Economic Council is to ensure that Martin County is a quality, sustainable community. And these touch on all 4 of those
Time's up.
segments of the environment: natural, built, social,
Time's
and
up.
economic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, now, Michelle Miller.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Miller with the Marine Industry Association of the Treasure Coast, and I'm here to speak in support of the Artificial Reef Program. I have to get back to the office and plan the boat parade. I just wanted to comment that the MIATC has supported the Artificial Reef Program since its inception, and we also support Artificial Reef programs statewide. This particular program has created over 100 new reefs since its inception, with the assistance of nonprofits and FWC grants, which in turn has created acres of new habitat for fish for both anglers and divers. The benefit of having these reefs for the commercial guys to get bait would be a target. The Texas Reef Sand Pile is where everyone seems to gather for the bait, both recreational and commercial. The program deploys roughly 3 reefs a year, using $25,000 in county funds to match a $60,000 FWC grant, and then $40,000 for monitoring and the rest of the program. We just think it's a win, as Blair said. It's a win all the way around for everybody. He pointed out all of our economic impact. If you need, I can break it down for Martin County, all of those numbers, boat sales, boat registrations, it's just crazy. And right now with the pandemic, we have no inventory. Everyone's buying boats and they're going out on them and they're gassing them up and they're repairing them and they're doing everything. So it's been a boom for us. Shh. But anyway, thank you very much, and we hope that you support this program.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, that is my last speaker form. I have, you want to specifically talk to an item, or you want to talk general? Okay. Okay. There's your form. Good.
Oh, thanks.
Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm obviously here to speak about the ordinance for the tobacco licensing, and I have spoke to you guys a couple of weeks ago, I believe, and kind of shared some personal stories of the youth that I work with directly, that I've been working with for several years. Pre-COVID, I have been a part of numerous community conversations led by United Way, led by our youth leadership programs, led by some of our leaderships within the school systems, talking about this vaping epidemic that we have, that truly is an epidemic among our youth. And all with the question of what can we do? And we're so fortunate to have such a wonderful tobacco-free partnership locally in our community that has come up with a solution. And I hope that you all support it. This ordinance is not meant to punish any businesses or tobacco resellers. It's just to ensure that we get these products out of the hands of our youth. So I hope that you consider that and support this ordinance today. And again, thank you, Commissioner Hetherington, for making this our priority. Thank you.
Jennifer, could you say your name for the record?
So, sorry, Jennifer Ahern,
Yep. Cool, thank you.
proud member of Hope Sound.
All right. There you go.
Represent.
All right, that's the end of our public comment. And now for my last act as chair, proclamation number 1, organization of the Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Campy. We're now looking.
Thank you. In lieu of commissioner comments,
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
We forgot about that.
You know, I can't go through a meeting with.
you did fantastic. I'm saying in lieu. I'm with you,
Cut that off the
Lou.
cheat sheet.
First off, I'd like to commend you, Commissioner Jenkins. You are self-deprecating, you have done actually a very, very good job as chair. You know, every personality brings a different type and style, and yours was even and fair and consistent, although you're a little chatty.
Particularly this morning, he just went
Yeah,
on.
on and on. Yeah,
The words
I apologize.
droning and monotony come to mind, but with that, all kidding aside, you've done a remarkable job, and I've enjoyed very much having you as chair. And with that, we have a vice chair in place in Commissioner Hetherington, and it would be my honor to nominate her to elevate to chair.
Second.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? We have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well,
You know what they
thank you, I
say,
appreciate it, and I'm humbled, and hopefully I will do a fine job following Commissioner Jenkins.
well, you better. You know, just Commissioner now, not Chair
Yeah, I know.
Jenkins, Commissioner Jenkins,
Yeah.
they say that being chairman is like purchasing a boat. The best day is the first day, and the next best day is the last day of owning the boat, so thank you. I might, before we rearrange chairs, also,
We did just elect the chair.
no, I'm about to do that now, thank you for the support. See, we are collaborating. I'd like to make a motion to have Commissioner Smith be our vice chair as he enters into his historic sixth term. That would be my motion.
And I will second that.
Okay, so I'm officially on duty now. I was expecting to read. So we have a motion on the floor with Commissioner Campy and seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. All in favor? Aye.
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 All those opposed? Congratulations, the motion
much.
carries unanimously.
We're moving?
All these new responsibilities, Commissioner Smith.
Do we need to,
It's up to you all if you want to switch seats now, or if you want to, we can take a few minutes and do that. That'd be fine.
Two people.
why don't we just staying tight? Do we need to take our 10:30 break since we started at 10 a.m.?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually,
perfect.
Doug, you need to kind of stay there because your computer plugs in there, right?
I have a thought until we move over to the other building. Why don't we just stay where we are and,
Well, these two should
Well, that
switch.
technically, then the vice chair would be on the left, so that will work.
okay.
That will work.
It's at the pleasure of the board.
I think this will be fine. So then I saw Ms. Manning, we're going to take public hearing number 1. We didn't have any consent pools, no?
No,
No.
ma'am.
So we're going to take public hearing number 1 first, and then Jessica, I'm going to let you,
Madam Chair,
yes?
point of order.
We
We have some other responsibilities to take care of before we go to public.
Oh, the reorganization,
Yes.
yes, we do. Thank you for
Do you have
reminding
a
me.
cheat sheet? Do you have your cheat sheet?
Well, she's got the most important part done.
Okay, so I see Donna sitting there.
Oh,
So
is this collectible?
Yeah.
today's the first day. I don't know if it's going to be the best day, but it is the first day. So, okay,
what they say
Donna
about the
is
first
going
day
to
in
lead
votes.
us through our reorganization duties. Take it away, Donna.
First of all, would you like to be called chair, chairman, chairperson, chairwoman?
Madam Chair?
You can. Madam Chair is
In
fine.
In documents?
I will answer to either. Oh, in documents,
Yeah.
just chair.
Chair, okay. Donna Gordon, what you need to do now is approve the use of the prior chair's signature plate for check signing purposes until the new chair signature plate is available.
You need a motion for that?
Please.
Move approval?
We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And if you could adopt the resolution designating who may sign, and it's typically the chair, vice chair, and then the 3 other commissioners.
Move adoption?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And make appointments to the boards and committees on which you all serve. Let's see. That one and
There's a list in your
Here's the
packet.
current list.
Okay, so do,
Page 16, if you want to go down the list.
Commissioners, in the past, we've bundled them together, those that would like to maintain this, and any of that have been separated. Commissioner Smith?
I'm sure I'm happy to keep the appointments I have, if that's okay with everybody.
I also, yes.
Chair, I would like to have Commissioner Smith appointments, please. Okay, I changed my mind.
And I'm happy to keep my appointments, and if anyone wants to give up their position on the MPO, I'd be happy to take it.
Hush,
So how about you, Stacy?
What's that?
Are you happy with yours?
Yes, I'm happy with mine. I'm happy to stay on.
Then, Madam Chair, I would move approval of maintaining the current list as it stands with no changes from last year.
I believe there's one change, and that would be the Circuit 19 Juvenile Justice Board, and I believe it's supposed to be Michelle Miller instead of,
Yes, I was going to bring that up, Donna, thank you. So for the Circuit 19 Juvenile Justice Board, if you could appoint Michelle Miller as your
Then, Madam Chair,
representative?
I would amend my motion to include Michelle Miller as the Circuit 19 Juvenile Justice Board appointee, and that the rest of the board maintain its current list.
Second.
Okay, great. We have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That was easy.
and the three commissioners are asked to appoint their members to the local planning agency.
Okay, Commissioner Smith.
Madam Chair, I'll keep my current appointee, Cindy Hall.
Okay. Do we need to motion for each one individually or
Do one.
together?
Just one.
Just one motion together?
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Jenkins.
I will also keep my appointee, Don Foley.
Okay, Commissioner Campy.
I would like to thank Scott Watson for his service as my appointee on the LPA board for the last 4 years, and it's my honor to appoint Mr. Reed Hartman to be my LPA appointment for
Madam
District
Chair,
5.
I would move the three zoning board, I'm sorry,
LPO.
LPA members
He's new.
as discussed by each commissioner.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And the same thing for the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
And again, Madam Chair, I would keep mine.
Okay, Commissioner
Travis
Jenkins.
Waddell,
Commissioner Jenkins?
What was this?
Boza.
Zoning.
Boza,
Oh, yes, I'll keep mine also.
Michael Dooley,
Yes.
I'll be keeping mine as well.
Scott Rodriguez,
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move
motion.
the three, District 1, District 3, and District 5 appointees for the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
and you need to approve your schedule for 2021.
Everybody has reviewed the calendar, and does anybody have a motion to approve the 2021 schedule?
Move approval of the 2021 County Commission calendar.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously.
And then the holidays. You're
Again.
welcome to add more.
Move tentative approval then. No. Move approval of the 2021 holidays as presented by staff on the board.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And finally, readopt your rules of procedure.
Karen, do you have any other changes?
No, sir.
Then, Madam Chair, I would move approval of the rules of procedure.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Hurd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so that rounds up the proclamations. Thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, let the record show that all of your votes thus far have been unanimous.
Yes.
You're off to a great start.
Let's go for a good day today. Okay, so now we are going to move on to public hearing number 1. I just wanted to let Jessica know that I'm going to take Jennifer Manning after this public hearing and then let you round out our day with your presentation.
Thank you.
And that will be presented by Elise Elder.
Good morning, Commissioners. Elise Elder, Senior Assistant County Attorney for the record. We are here today on a public hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance that would amend Article 6 and Article 7 of Chapter 87, which is pertaining to tobacco products and electronic nicotine delivery devices. Originally, we had a public hearing on this ordinance on October 30th. Based on the board's comment and direction, we were asked to look at the ordinance again and make some revisions. So we're here today to discuss some of those revisions. Last year in December, President Trump raised the age to purchase tobacco products to 21 from 18. Last legislative session, the Florida legislature also approved a Senate Bill 810, that also did the same thing. That bill was later vetoed by the governor. So even though, just to recap, federal law is 21, on the books in the state of Florida, it's 18. You have to be 21 in Florida, federal law governs, but there is a little bit of a gap. So this proposed ordinance, the first thing it does is it raises the age in Martin County to 21. This enables our police department to enforce the age of 21 because they technically cannot enforce the federal law. So it clears up that gap. The next thing the proposed ordinance does is it significantly increases the scope of the definition of tobacco products. And as a result, vaping products and other things like that are included in the definition of tobacco products under this ordinance. And then the final significant change that the ordinance does is it creates a tobacco distribution license in Martin County. So based on the ordinance, any tobacco retailer in Martin County would have to have a tobacco distribution license. This was, at the last meeting, just if you recall, there was some concern that tobacco retailers who received a permit from the state of Florida would have to pay another permit fee for our license. So that was one of the concerns that the board asked us to address. We feel it's very important from an enforcement perspective for all tobacco retailers in Martin County to have the distribution license, because if we do not give it to everybody, we cannot suspend the license. If you recall, one of the penalties under the licensing structure is suspension of a license. If we do not issue a license to everybody, then we cannot suspend those businesses that violate the ordinance. We can't suspend the state license. So the proposal that we are submitting today to kind of address some of the concerns of the double payment by some tobacco retailers is we are proposing that the Martin County tobacco distribution license would be $50, and that is the same fee that the state of Florida requires for tobacco retailers. Under the state of Florida's, it's $50 and it's called a permit. They get a tobacco retail permit. It's $50. So our fee would be the same as the state of Florida, and then any tobacco retailers who have a state of Florida permit would be exempt from paying our fee. And that would make it even across the board. Everybody pays $50. The only thing those retailers would have to pay is the nominal fee charged by the tax collector to issue the license. And that would be between $2 and $4. So that's our suggestion for the differentiation in having some businesses pay twice and some businesses not. So just to recap from the last time, so the tobacco distribution license is going to be issued by the tax collector. It's going to be issued yearly, the same time that the business tax receipts is due. So it's yearly on September 30th. So it's the business will have to go get their business tax receipt at the same time they can get their distribution license. So it's not necessarily an extra step for them. The ordinance will be enforced by the sheriff. And we didn't change the enforcement provisions. They have agreed to enforce it and dedicate the staff they need to do that. And then any money collected underneath from the licensing fees will go still into the trust fund, so that still hasn't changed from the last time. We did, based on some of the concerns at the last meeting, just going to pull up. We did revise the penalty provisions. So if someone violates the ordinance, the first violation within 24 months is still a 7-day suspension, but we raised the penalty to $500. The second violation is still the 30-day suspension for the license, but the fee is $500. The third is the 90-day license suspension with the $500 fee, and a fourth violation within 24 months is a permanent revocation of the license and the $500 fee. So the only change to that since the last public hearing was increasing the fee to $500 for every penalty. We did get some input from our local tobacco retailers, and we're making some additional suggested changes. This is different from the original agenda items. So for section 87.141, and that involves the self-service display and placement, there were some revisions in the prior ordinance that limited tobacco retailers to just face-to-face sales. This, after getting input from some of the tobacco retailers, this would impact existing businesses. So staff is recommending that we do not change this provision and allow the existing businesses to operate as they currently are. The only change would be to the exceptions in paragraph A, and that would be to raise the age of 21 to 21 for persons who enter establishments. If a business, say a cigar shop, has a humidor, and they don't allow anybody under the age of 21, they could still have a self-service display. We didn't want to take that away, so staff is recommending that we don't change this provision except to raise the age to 21 from 18, consistent with federal law. Article 7 has not changed since the last public hearing. As a reminder, Article 7 is really the provision that governs vaping. Under Florida law, we are preempted from regulating smoking, but we can regulate vaping. So under Article 7, we keep the regulations for vaping the same as they are right now, except we add no vaping in county parks. Oh, no, that was in there. I take that back. We kept that the same, so there's been no change to that. You can't vape anywhere where it's prohibited in Chapter 386 or within 50 feet thereof or at county parks.
That's everybody.
That's everybody, everywhere, and that's what's in existence right now. So the other portion of this is the resolution. So the tobacco distribution license is, the fee for the license is established by resolution. So this resolution basically says the fee would be $50, as I indicated earlier, and it also provides for the late fees. The late fees of 10%, all the way up to $200, depending on when you pay, was at the request of the tax collector. That's in accordance with what she's doing right now for the business tax receipt, and for consistency, she would like to keep it the same. Our proposed effective date of this ordinance is February, and that just gives us time to make the public aware and get the software at the tax collectors up to speed. That's my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any commissioners have questions? Commissioner Jenkins.
I have a question, and I just thought of it now. When does it go in effect? When does a retailer have to have a,
February.
It
or
would
did I
be
miss that?
February 1st.
Okay. My first
Okay.
light.
So this, Commissioner Jenkins, this is the pile for, okay, we're going to go ahead and take public comment now, and the first public I have is Michael Circus.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mike Circus. I am a consumer and resident of Palm City. I'm also a volunteer advocate of the 501c4 Cigar Rights of America. We lobby both in Tallahassee as well as Washington, D.C. on behalf of the right of cigar enthusiasts to enjoy a quality product. Now I'm lobbying here in the county. I really want to start by saying I appreciate the effort that I've seen in the last 7 to 10 days from both staff and the commissioners. For years, I've talked in front of you guys, and I've never seen such a quick turnaround to really try to address some of the issues that had come up between this local ordinance and the state regulations. So I really appreciate that. I also want to say that the appreciation for addressing the self-service aspect. The one thing that I'm looking at, or two things I'm looking at that I was hoping for a little bit of clarification on, maybe they can be stated before you guys vote. 87-141B, face-to-face transactions only. Currently, the state of Florida allows for e-commerce, phone, and catalog sales. That is a perfectly legal aspect within the state of Florida's business licensure for tobacco products. Here in the county, that would make it illegal for premium cigar retailers, and I'd really hope you guys take a look at that. And then the 87-134B, the 1,000-foot clause within a school and a non-transferable licensure. I'd hope you guys can take a look at that and really address that those who have existing tobacco licensures within 1,000 feet of a school would not be able to lose their business, or should they transfer their business to a child, try to sell their convenience store, that they would not lose their ability to sell an existing business. We have at least 3 of them within Martin County High School. There's one of them, Publix Supermarkets, within 500 feet of Felix A. Williams. If Publix Supermarkets changes their CEO, whoever it is that signs for the tobacco licensure, Publix would have to. There's a bit of a gray area in there, so I would hope you can look at no new businesses within 1,000 feet, not necessarily no new licensures. So that's really my concerns, and if these were to be addressed, then I would say that the premium tobacco retailers here in Martin County, we are some of the loudest voices against illegal sale of tobacco products to minors, and we really support what you guys are trying to achieve. We're just hoping that we don't get punished for trying to do something the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. So once we complete public comment, then we'll address, those 2 concerns with Ms. Elder. And our next public commenter is Kim Nash.
Good morning. I'm Kim Nash with the Tobacco Free Partnership of Martin County. I know you just heard from me about 3 weeks ago, so I won't bore you with saying the same thing. I'm sure you listened. I did just want to share a few new thoughts in talking with our SWAT clubs over the past few weeks about this particular ordinance. As you know, I've been doing this for about 8 years, working with our youth in Martin County, and alarmingly, half of that time we've had a huge issue with electronic cigarettes, vaping, nicotine products. We've seen rates that are the same as smoking was when I was in school 30 years ago. And now with 23.2% of our youth in 2018 regularly using nicotine products, that's almost a quarter. It's alarming. And we know that they're getting these products here in Martin County. We know that they're bringing them to the schools. They're selling them in the bathrooms, where they call them the jewel lounges. So this ordinance is an amazing step towards stopping that. That's all we're asking for, is just your assistance in helping do something about this problem that we're facing, so that our kids aren't having to battle with nicotine addiction. I know you've heard from people via email over the last few days who are working with these kids. We have some people here on Zoom that also want to talk because they run the school programs. So I'll let you hear from them, but please, whatever you can do to help our youth, I really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last in-person public speaker forum I have is Dr. Barry Hummel.
Good morning, guys. I'm Dr. Barry Hummel. I'm a pediatrician and a member of the Tobacco Free Partnership of Martin County, and I am so happy with what you guys are poised to do today. This is an amazing step for the youth in Martin County. I know last time we discussed fees versus enforcement. You worked on the fees. It's a great compromise because, as I told you before, this isn't about what it costs a business in a few bucks. This is about enforcement. Let me give you some enforcement data from the FDA from 1 year ago. A number of businesses were found to be 15 to 24% in violation. That included Family Dollar, Kroger grocery stores, Circle K, and even Walmart. So we talked about, the big box stores aren't selling to minors. That's not necessarily true. Retailers who were in violation 25 to 34% of the time, including Chevron and 7-Eleven. These are the stores in your neighborhoods. Vendors that were in violation 35 to 44% of the time, nearly half the time in some cases, were most of your gas stations and convenience stores. Marathon, Exxon, Sunoco, BP, Citgo, and Mobil. These are the stores in the neighborhoods where the schools are. These are the stores where your kids pass every day when they're walking home. The compliance checks are the key. Not what it costs for the license, but the compliance checks. How about some local data? Sarasota did a survey of just vape shops a year ago, 29 vape shops, unlicensed vape shops, mind you, because there's no state license. They had a failure rate of 27.5% in vape shops. And finally, Alachua County, which was the first county to do exactly what you're poised to do here today. They raised the age to 21. It took effect about February of last year. By October of this year, they'd already found 5% of the retailers in violation of their new ordinance. Even knowing that they were going to be looked at, we still have violation rates. You'll hear tobacco retailers say, if you do this, you're going to create a black market. What's a black market? That's an illegal market. We call that a crime, and we penalize it, and we punish them. So we don't want to punish the people who aren't doing the violations, that's for sure. But what you're doing here is putting a system in place to make sure that people are following the rules that you set, to make sure that these addictive products don't land in the hands of our young children and our teenagers in our community. Thank you so much for what you're doing today. I couldn't appreciate it more.
Thank you. Okay, we have one more in-person speaker forum, Thomas Burrell.
Good morning. I'm Tom from Smokin' Premiums in Palm City, and Stacy met with me on Saturday. My concerns, first of all, I applaud the bill. We need that to protect the youth, and I have no problem with that. As I told Stacy before, I came from the liquor industry in Connecticut. I was on the underage task force for Connecticut for about 6 months, and we put keg registration through, so I'm in favor of this. My concerns were the walk-in humidor, which I think have been addressed, so I'm very happy about that. I think we need to control tobacco products to youth. I've taken this stance in my store. I don't carry the vapes. I don't want to attract that type of business. I have a very limited number of cigarettes. I think I carry 2 packs. Marlboro and Marlboro Lights, and that's for the members that are in the plaza with us that come in and buy them. I have 1 package of Juul, and it's for an older gentleman that purchased it because we used to have them on a single hit unit before, and that unit went out of business. So I have no inkling to even bring those products in our store. So, but I do applaud this because I do see the need for it. So I want to thank you.
Okay, Mr. Merker, do we have some public comment on Zoom?
We do, Madam Chair. We have 3. So if I can get them on the screen. Okay, first, Altos, Martin County.
Hi there, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Dawn Cabrera. I am a therapist and the program coordinator of the Tykes and Teens All Talks program. I'm speaking to you today on behalf of Tykes and Teens and my daily role my prevention services team plays in servicing our community and youth. Please know that we are in support of the Tobacco Ordinance 21 and the implications that it poses for our youth. My experience in my program, I've worked very closely with many students, middle school and high school, who have struggled with the issues of vaping. In my experience, kids know exactly where to go, how to get it, and who follows the rules and who doesn't. We obviously know that when the health information became more accessible of what those consequences are, as well as the increased sanctions the school district posed, it was helpful. However, it was too late for many who were already addicted. Just to give you an idea, in past years, there were a handful of kids suspended for cigarettes throughout the year. When the vaping crisis hit, we were getting a handful of students a day. getting out of school suspensions for using a product in school. And we're noticing a trend that is becoming younger and younger. According to the Florida Youth Substance Abuse Survey, the use of vaping and e-cigarette products rose 68% among middle school age youth from 2016 to 2018, and then 36% for high school age youth. Currently, the use of vaping tobacco products among our Martin County middle and high school age youth is well above the state Florida average. While this ordinance may pose a nuisance to some adults, we believe it is a significant win for our youth, and in turn, a long-term health and well-being of our community as a whole. Raising the age of sale has been proven effective in keeping tobacco out of the hands of younger high school students and middle school students. Requiring a license for anyone selling tobacco will increase compliance when it comes to selling to minors. We deal with many youth who are dealing with the addiction component of vaping and e-cigarettes, and please help us in preventing our children in Martin County from accessing their first tobacco product and save them from a lifetime of addiction. Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right. Mr. Saavedra.
Hello, my name is Jerry Saavedra, and I'm with the American Heart Association, testifying today on behalf of our volunteers and members who live and work in Martin County. I want to first off just thank the Martin County Board of Commissioners that, you're bringing this issue up. Before the pandemic, about a year ago, we were seeing the skyrocketing rates of youth who are becoming addicted to tobacco products, vaping products, and I think back then is when this conversation started. So really, I think it's great that today they're taking a huge step forward. As I talked about in the last meeting, the big problem here is that too many retailers are not getting any sort of compliance check. In 2018, only 30 out of the 224 retailers, about 13%, got an enforcement check from the state of Florida. From the FDA in 2019, the FDA, the federal enforcement agency, they only conducted 23 compliance checks out of the 224, or only 10% of retailers. And so I think, having this is the whole reason of adopting a county tobacco retail license, is trying to fill that hole and making sure that, 10% of retailers aren't being checked. And I think that's just an area that I think would be great to have a little bit more discussion on. I think the current language says that the law enforcement may conduct frequent checks. And so as far as, what exactly does that mean from our perspective, the policies that we see get adopted across the country, the ones that see the biggest impact to reduce the rates of retailers selling to kids are the ones that include a specified number of checks, making sure that there's a systematic approach to, not just assuming it's the small mom and pop shops, but that have been referenced before. It is also the big box retailers. To be honest, frankly, we don't know who's not selling to the youth unless there's a compliance check performed. And so to the extent that there's, best practices from communities all across the country that have adopted these policies, we often recommend that at least 2 compliance checks are done per retailer per year. At a minimum standard, it's at least getting at least 1 check done per year. And so to the extent that I think that the county can set a goal of trying to get at least 1 check a year, that would be something that I think would really strengthen this ordinance and give it teeth, and making sure that retailers know they're going to get a check. And then the great penalties that you all have established, I think that's an area of the policy that's super strong. And so, but at the end of the day, you can't give a penalty if you're not doing the check. And so I think that's the second part that I would strongly ask if you all can set some sort of goal or guidance that you're striving to get at least 1 check a year. I understand there's other reasons for not wanting to include that in the ordinance, but if there's something that could be done to just make it, and it doesn't have to fall on law enforcement, there's other ways to get checks done, and then for law enforcement to focus in on the ones that are
Sir,
being the bad apple. So
your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
We have
then Shannon Quinby.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. My name is Shannon Quinby. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I am with the Preventing Tobacco Addiction Foundation and the National Tobacco 21 organization. We work nationwide and have worked nationwide for 20 years on this policy to raise the legal sales age for tobacco and nicotine to 21, and on the enforcement of the policy, which has come into focus more in recent years as we see the FDA's failure to properly enforce this policy in the states where the age has been raised. While I am not local to Martin County, there are some universal truths about tobacco 21 laws. And one of those is that without consistent and systematic compliance checks of each retailer every year, the law likely won't achieve its intent, which in this ordinance is stated to help prevent the addiction to nicotine, especially by young people in Martin County. Otherwise, the ordinance is a best practices ordinance, we would call it. It contains critical elements such as requiring every retailer to obtain and annually renew a license. It creates a buffer zone so that young people of 1,000 feet from schools and youth facilities for licensees. It has model definitions to capture current and future products. And it has, most importantly, meaningful monetary and suspension scheduling. We strongly support all these elements, and we thank Commissioner Hetherington and the county attorney for working with us on developing this language. What we see missing from the ordinance is simply a systematic way to check retailers with unannounced compliance inspections. We know and applaud the Sheriff's Office for their intention to do these compliance checks, but without a systematic mandate, it will be difficult to know who to penalize or whose license to suspend. We also know that the compliance checks performed systematically will give you the data you will need to know whether the law is working. Without them, you may only have anecdotes. We thank all of you for your dedication to improving the health of Martin County, and thank you very much for taking public testimony today.
Thank you. Mr. Merker, were there any others on?
We have no more.
Okay, I'm sorry, Herb, your speaker form was in a different stack, so we have Mr. Herb Short.
Good morning. My name's Herb Short. My family and I own Black Dog Cigar Bar at Indian and Federal. This is a business that has thrived in Martin County for almost 40 years. I appreciate the effort the commission has made over the past weeks to make this ordinance more business friendly. However, there are a couple of areas that still concern me. 87.141A says, it shall be unlawful for any tobacco retailer to sell, permit to sell, sold, or offer for sale or display any tobacco product by means of self-service display or placement or by any means other than vendor-assisted sales. This is something I think needs to be addressed. Probably the number one item that comes to mind here is that all of us in the cigar business have a walk-in humidor with thousands of cigars in it. People walk in, they walk around, they look, they pick up something that attracts them. We may or may not be in the humidor with them. And I don't think that's something that you're trying to prevent. I think it's just a matter of how do we address it. Just below that, for exemptions, the provision of this sect, which has been struck out, by the way, shall not apply to any establishment that prohibits persons under 21 years of age on the premise. That was struck out. It goes on to identify open display. Any device, furniture, or furnishing within or upon which tobacco products are displayed to consumers and includes but not limited to case, rack, shelf, counter, table, desk, kiosk, booth, stand, and other surface. Self-service display or placement means any open display or placement of tobacco products to which the public has access without the intervention of the vendor, store owner, or other store employee. Now, our store has open shelves with humidors, cutters, lighters, and other cigar accessories that the consumer can walk over, pick up, take it to the counter and pay for it. Now, does all this mean that it's illegal to make the sale? Or is it illegal for that person to handle that particular item? I think we need some clarification here.
Sir, your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have a public speaker form that I'm missing? And that will complete public comment. And we're going to bring it back to the board. I just have a couple comments. And I thank you, all of you for your participation, Michael Circus and Tom and Herb. And it was a pleasure. I had the opportunity of going to both of your shops, the Black Dog Cigars and Smokin' Premiums, and meeting with you and your families and really understanding what you do. So I appreciate, all the effort that was put into making this what I feel is going to be a very positive ordinance. And when we started working on this well over a year ago, it is alarming. I have 2 children in schools, and they're in high school, and they refuse to even go to the restroom and their friends because it's such an epidemic. There's so much vaping. It's alarming. 1 in 5 high schoolers are using vaping products, electronic cigarettes. 1 in 20 middle schoolers are using this. And to me, this is a public health crisis, and it's something that we can do here locally to enforce the compliance. And some of these businesses, you all sitting in the room, are obviously, not offending, and violating the law. There are many retailers, if we have a 1 in 5 ratio of high schoolers using these products, then they're getting them from somewhere. I wanted to address, Commissioner Hurd had some concerns last time we discussed about other states or counties and cities working on this. And I will tell you, from back a year ago when we started this, there are several other counties, municipalities, cities. And then what happened with the pandemic, we all sort of tapped the brakes, and then everyone tapped the brakes even more when the governor, the bill was kind of going through the session. So I think that you see a lot of those counties and cities picking these back and bringing them forward now. But I feel that was the reason of the tapping of the brakes. So I think this is important. I think that, I thank, Attorney Woods and Elise Elder because they've done a lot of work on this, and I appreciate it. And I'll bring it back. Does anyone have comments from the board? Commissioner Camping.
So far away, I have to hold my light up. I was wondering, I got a little conflicted information. The last gentleman that spoke from Black Dog, wasn't some of the issues were addressed with the walk-in humidor and things like that? So that the first section that he read, but then there was an exemption, correct?
Yes, I think he read from one of the prior versions. The final version is up on the screen. We have not changed that section at all. We're recommending not to change that section at all, except to raise the age to 21 in the exception, but otherwise it's exactly the same.
Thank you. And Mr. Circus, you reviewed this and you felt that these changes or the way that the language had been crafted does work for the retailers, legitimate retailers that you're speaking of, correct?
It's my understanding that
I'm sorry, I know that you've really studied this, so I'm asking him for an opinion on the retail side.
It's to my understanding that the change to the age being 21 is at the physical establishment itself. So walking in the front door, if you're 21 years of age, you would not be required to have the attendant be with you. So you would still be able to access the humidor, access everything. The difference being that you would have to be 21 or older to enter the shop itself.
Okay, thank you. And so the other, for our staff, the other concerns about the different types of display and things like that, those issues are handled by the fact that if it's a tobacco retailer with a humidor and it's a 21 age minimum to enter the establishment, that addresses the self-serve display issue, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And then there was a concern by Mr. Circus brought up, which I think is legit, that out of all of the retailers in Martin County, there might be 3 existing retailers that fall within the geographical boundaries or restrictions that we're speaking of. Now, I like the restrictions. Nobody wants anything near schools. However, if those establishments already existed, so is that language also?
Yes, if you look at 87.134B, the last sentence, we changed it so it's a location that sells tobacco products prior to the effective date it's not applicable to those businesses. So we changed it so it attaches to the location, not to the owner. So that should address that concern as well. So you can change ownership 10 times, your circle pit can still stay.
I just wanted to make sure that we were clear. And then, in terms of enforcement and some of the comments we had heard about sending in people to verify the fact that compliance, to ensure compliance. You know, I had an opportunity to speak to a couple of sheriff's deputies, a couple of SROs, a couple of our community policing officers, and they do feel comfortable with how they have proceeded. I think once there's a new ordinance in place and there's a new level of commitment from on behalf of the county, that they understand that now they have an additional tool. But to lay down a very specific, and I get that there was some interest in that, and I appreciate the facts that some of those people were willing to be a little more accommodating on how that could be done, that it's not necessarily a sheriff's office initiated compliance check, that there might be some other opportunities. But I feel personally comfortable that our law enforcement officials are looking out for all underage infractions. Driving vehicles without licenses, alcohol, illegal drinking, purchasing of alcoholic beverages, and now all of these things as well. I think they take their responsibilities and their jobs very seriously, and I think that especially with the SRO, the school resource officers, they're the most tuned in. I mean, I agree with what Commissioner Hetherington said, that this is an issue in schools, no doubt, and I applaud Kim and Barry, because I've worked with them. This has been an issue that we've been working on since I became a commissioner 12 years ago. And back then it was flavored tobacco and flavored cigarettes, and now there was no such thing as vaping. But as the parent of 2 teenagers, I do hear quite a bit from them that it's widespread through their age demographic, all the different electronic tobacco devices. So I don't think they go to tobacco stores to buy them. They probably buy them from friends. So the 18 to 21 makes perfect sense. And I think, Commissioner, well, you're the chair now, so you're not going to be making motions, so I'll make one for you.
Thank you.
Even though Commissioner Smith, by the time Amelia is 18, they'll be doing some virtual tobacco products. But for the rest of us that have teenagers now, I'd make a motion to accept staff's recommendation.
She will not have a credit card until she's 21.
We'll see. We'll see.
2 votes.
Second.
Well,
Do you need some specific motion making?
I think it would be helpful if first you vote to approve the ordinance, and then second, there's a vote to approve the resolution setting the fines.
I just threw my voice to you. Could you hear it? I make a motion to first move that the board approve the proposed ordinance amending Articles 6 and 7, Chapter 87, General Ordinances, Martin County Code, and the resolution establishing the TDL fees. How was that?
That's perfect.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Campy, seconded by Commissioner Smith for the ordinance.
Oh.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously.
And now the resolution to establish the,
He included it.
He included it.
He included it. That's
Oh.
okay.
Everything's done.
Yes. Yes.
thought you
Okay,
needed
well,
to-
thank you all, and thank you all for being here today.
Stacy?
Okay, yes.
Just congratulations on you being chair and passing your first,
Yeah.
major thing.
There you
Great,
go.
thank you. Unanimously, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, now we're going to move to departmental number 1, Office of Management and Budget. Jennifer Manning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Manning, ONB Director. I have 2 items on the agenda. And let me pull them up. The first one is permission to accept the state aid to libraries grant in the amount of $76,244. And this is to provide a management and coordination of free library services. Sorry. The second item is permission to accept the golf course fleet lease to lease 75 golf carts and GPS units. It's over a 4-year period. It's $130,392 over the 4 years for the golf carts, and it's going to be $81,900 for the GPS units.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Boy, we're on a roll today. And now we will have a presentation update of the Martin County Artificial Reef Program. Jessica.
Good morning, Jessica Garland, Coastal Management Coordinator.
Jessica, can you pull that a little closer? Mike?
Closer? Sorry. Today I'm going to provide you with an update of the Artificial Reef Program. A lot has changed in the Artificial Reef Program since it began in the 70s with the Reef Diaries and Bill Donaldson. We now have over 100 artificial reefs that are comprised of 22 vessels and barges, 10 bridges, 63 concrete rubble reefs, which is over 31,000 tons of concrete, and 4 steel towers. Teamwork within the county for the Artificial Reef Program is crucial. We have to work with our capital projects to supply reef materials for ongoing projects, for future deployments, our field operations staff to get material from the sidewalks and stormwater projects, which includes culverts, baffle boxes. We also have an agreement with the Utilities Department and the transfer station to store materials for future deployments, as well as to waive the tipping fee for contractors who bring in clean concrete for us. By doing all of this, it is creating new reefs. It's also starting resilience within our Artificial Reef Program. By doing that, we're keeping the concrete out of the landfills, as well as the vessels that would be crushed and taken to the landfills. In coordination with the nonprofits MCAC Refund and SHIP, we have deployed 2 vessels, one being the Brossie Girl tugboat and the Haley Glass Rod, to the eastern wall of the Sirotkin Reef, one in 2014 and one in 2018. With the success of our program, the boat ramps that we used to use for loading our barges for the artificial reef deployments are busier with recreational boat traffic. So we had to find a different location that was more feasible. The 96th Street county-owned right-of-way fit our uses perfectly. So we have now been using this for 2 years and are now in the permitting process to install a bulkhead or seawall along the 400-foot-long shoreline. With the success of this shoreline and right-of-way, we have been approached by our neighboring counties for the use of this area for their artificial reef deployments. Martin County is also the northernmost end of the Southeast Florida Coral Reef Tract, which is the third longest coral reef in the world. It has a diverse set of stony corals, sponges, fish, and invertebrates. Staff is active with our partners in the 5 neighboring counties, DEP, the National Ocean Atmospheric Association as a part of the Southeast Coral Reef Initiative. Without the coordination of our funding partners, agencies, contractors, nonprofits, and other departments within the county, the Artificial Reef Program and the Coastal Division would not be successful in what we do. Questions?
Thank you. Anybody have questions for Jessica? Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, just an additional comment to all the great things that our staff and you guys have done all these years with Artificial Reef. We are still actively in the process of getting the Coral Reef Reauthorization Act passed in Washington. I had a great conversation with DEP's staff in DC last week. They are very confident that we might see that reauthorization bill passed this Congress. And so to the extent that we can help with everybody else that's been working on doing this and letting everybody know that there is a really good opportunity to make that happen this year, absolutely please do reach out to our delegation, our entire Florida delegation, but specifically Senator Rubio's office, who really has helped us create the language and create the direction in order to get that passed. It would be significantly important to our entire coral reef program to see that happen. As just had up on the screen, of the 43 species, can you go back to that one? Yeah. Of the 43 species of the stony corals, half of them have been dramatically impacted, and I think we've lost over 50% of the entire reef from the northern extent, which is the St. Lucie Inlet, to the Dry Tortugas, which is the very southern western edge of the Keys. And so it's time that we get the next, if you will, federal piece of legislation passed to help us move further on this. The state was incredibly helpful last year, dedicating a significant, unprecedented amount of money to coral reef, or to the coral reef program. And so we are very hopeful from that. We will see storage, and we will see on-land nurseries, if you will, to where we can take the specimens of the reefs that we have lost, and certainly the species we have lost, to regrow them, and when the time is right, to go out and repropagate them out on the coral reef, which will be a huge task. But thank you for all that you all do, and I wish Mr. Wickstrom was still here this morning, because every bit of push and help and energy that we could get to get that reauthorization done will be a huge help to all of our efforts with the Coral Reef Program. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have some, Commissioner Hurd.
Yes, Ms. Garland, you mentioned that the 96th Street staging area is going to get a new 400-foot bulkhead. Do we have a capital improvement plan sheet for it? When is it proposed to be done? How much is it going to cost? What's the funding source?
It's ad valorem funding. It's $150,000 is what's in the CIP sheet, and it's in the permitting process now, and that takes roughly about 9 months. So it'll go out to bid probably next October.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have some public comments. So our first speaker is John Burke.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Burke, 4174 Southeast Oakland Street, Stuart, Florida. I'm the founder and the president of the MCAC Artificial Reef Fund. I handed out some propaganda here this morning to go over. You can go over it at your leisure, and our website is on there as well. I have been before you before, and I am passionate, and we as a group are passionate about the Artificial Reef Program. With me today is Dave Powell, our program director, and also Richard Shroop, who is a supporting director of the MCAC Reef Fund. Blair Wickstrom spoke with you earlier in public comment. Blair is also here as one of the directors of our fund. And his father, Carl, started, along with me, the fund by putting down the first artificial reef in deep water in 2002. And we've been busy ever since, as this brochure points out. We have started and put reefs in deep water as a new project starting in 2002 because of the information that was given to us by a reporter who is no longer with us concerning the fact that fish tend to go to deeper reefs south of us because the reefs that are in the water south of us are in very deep water because they don't have the area that we do for the reefs, like most of what Jessica and her group has been putting out. So what happens is the bait fish bypass this area for those deeper reefs. So that's the idea of us putting reefs in deeper water. And some have said that divers can't dive them, but there are groups of divers that in fact do dive those reefs. But the important thing is that we have a wall of reefs out there that is about 1.25 miles long, and we have spent close to $500,000 in putting them out there. Now, we are, as an organization, used to fund ourselves through a fishing tournament. We no longer do that because it became too much of an effort for us. It was really quite a chore putting on the fishing tournament every year. So we are now kind of a lack of funding. So I'm asking the board, and I've talked to Jessica and Don Donaldson concerning the fact that possibly we can use some of the reefs that are inshore.
Sir, your time's up. Thank you.
Okay, that are inshore, that we can
time's
sell the naming rights.
Your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more speaker, David Powell.
Jessica, if you could show the vessels, I sent you, please.
Oh, I don't have them on here.
I'm sorry?
I don't have them with me. I'm sorry.
We have
Sure.
here. Okay. If you look at our folder, you'll see all kinds of different vessels, and I had sent 3 in. I want to talk about our process for a second. It starts with people like John and myself and Richard and others identifying vessels that are all over the state. We have found boats as far north as Jacksonville and down to Miami. And in fact, the 200-footer that you see up there came from Miami. Once we identify it, we see if it's suitable for an artificial reef in this area. We then start right away talking to candidates for naming rights. We need to estimate how much it's going to cost to relocate the vessel here and to get it cleaned up. Now, some of the vessels that we've used, and including the ones I had photographs of, come from local shipyards where they've been abandoned. And Dominic Lecumbe out at American Custom Yacht has been very good. And he's got 2 new vessels that he is donating to us. One is called the Spirit of Palm Beach. It was a tour boat down in the Palm Beach area, and he's donating that one to us. The next step after that is we have to find contractors who will clean these vessels up. We have to remove the glass, the wire, some of the paint, synthetics like carpets, get the vessel cleaned up so it's suitable to go. We then organize inspection by the county, by the state, and by the Coast Guard. When the inspection's done, we need to get a permit for the site. Once we get a permit for the site, we find a contractor who would tow the vessel out there. At the beginning, I said we talked about raising money. That's selling the naming rights. It's very key to us raising money. It's our primary way of raising money now. We have also about 50 donors that are local businessmen. Once we get the funds raised, we get the project started. We have funds sinking the vessel. I bring down TV crews from Palm Beach. Then we start fishing. Then we start looking for more artificial reefs. So it's a long process, usually takes us a year to 18 months. So we appreciate your help. I'll be coming back to you with 2 new vessels that we just had donated to us by American Custom Yacht. And you'll see that part of the process again. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
If any questions, we'd be glad to answer.
Thank you. Jessica, I saw that we were starting to do water quality monitoring now at the reef that would measure the impacts of freshwater releases on the reef.
That's on the coral reefs.
On the offshore coral reefs.
At the state park, yeah.
So when would we expect to have some data coming in from those water quality monitorings?
I would have to check with John Mail and Kathy Fitzpatrick on that.
It just made me
Because I
think
have not.
It just made me think of it as we were talking about reef. Yes, Commissioner
If
Smith.
you will, Madam Chair, so we did just have DEP presented, I think, the first time we've seen sort of a cumulative list of the water quality about 3 weeks ago on a conference call. So that data and that stuff is becoming available. And so we can, if you want to get an update, Jess, maybe it would be great timing, especially where we're thinking that the Reauthorization Act may happen. It might be great to have them come and update us on exactly where all that is.
I think that would be great. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, with that, we are nearing the end of our day, and we are going to take 5:05 public comment at 11:30. And I don't have any speaker forms. Mr. Merker, do you have anyone on Zoom? Okay, we're going to Commissioner Smith. Do you have a comment or commissioner comments?
Just a final comment for today. In the last, I believe, 3-4 years, Commissioner Campy started this, I think, when he was chair. We did our top 3 list, 4 list, 5 list sort of thing. So are we on track to do that maybe next meeting if everybody brings their list? Is that the plan?
At the pleasure of the board.
I can do that.
Sure. I like it.
Do we, and we haven't done it since I've been here, the strategic planning? Is that something that, that we would consider periodically doing? Or are we doing priorities in lieu of that? Because some of these discussions, like I know Commissioner Campy mentioned, some of the drainage efforts. I think that it would be good to have an overall conversation on some of those efforts as well.
For me personally, Sarah and I have done strategic planning for years. I think the way we're doing this now is a lot more efficient and effective, and I think it gets your individual priorities to the top of the list. And on those bigger picture issues, I would hope that anybody would bring up at any given time that this is something we need to talk about or work on more than we are. And even if it wasn't part of the top 4 list or whatever list that we all create, that if it's something that Ed was talking about this morning, that's just something that becomes part of our agenda process and your style of running the meeting. So I have my list ready for next week or the next meeting that we have, but I think for expedient purposes, it's faster and better, and I think more effective if we do it this way. At least that's been my experience.
Does everybody agree that we would bring back the priorities on the December 8th meeting?
Yes, I think that was.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do an item,
Okay,
but
great.
you got to submit them to us.
And how many are there? Is it a dozen?
I'll be
Is it
hounding you.
Baker's dozen? 3, right?
3.
Yeah. And I last time did 3, but a lot of people had, 1A, 1B, 1C.
Well,
Yeah,
there is always bundling, and that's
But-
perfect, and that's perfectly legal.
You haven't heard a lot about bundling in
Well, as the
2020.
namesake for the method that is trademarked as the Campy method, I agree with Commissioner Smith that I had been part of some of our early strategic planning sessions, and I remember we would do them off-site, and we would bring all the department heads, and we would sort of go back and forth for the entire day and hire a professional facilitator and basically come up with the exact same thing that we can do here. I mean, you are the chair, but you're still officially the new kid. So until there's...
Don't let him do that.
You asked this morning about
And we'll
when do you
always-
lose that title? When there's a new kid. It's yours until
I will
there's...
always be the freshman.
It's like being the youngest. Actually, officially, you are the youngest as well, so...
Great, so Commissioner Jenkins, do you have commissioner comments?
No, I'm good, thank you. I appreciate all your support, and it's good, actually, he was my training wheel. And it's-
Mentor is more the phrase I would use.
I like the training wheel thing, because he's always kind of...
Kind of keeps you lopsided a little.
Sitting in this position might be actually a good idea, so he's been very beneficial.
I appreciate that.
Helping me stay on task, so, yeah.
Good. And Commissioner Hurd?
What about me?
I thought you just made your comments.
I did not.
We're skipping over you.
Did not.
Where's the mute button, Mr. Merker?
After the you know, the beating I took this morning during your collegial comments, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Our next meeting is not until December. And we had a lot of law enforcement here this morning, and I wish they were still here to say that during this pandemic that all of us have been going through, especially the commissioners, there's been very, very passionate opinions on both sides of the issue, sometimes boiling over into threats of violence. And I have been very appreciative, as I'm sure my colleagues have, when some of these issues have arisen. I don't like the concept that we would need to have additional security needed, but it is very reassuring that not only Mike, who is our permanent lifelong bailiff, but the folks that have showed here and showed in our neighborhoods and showed at our other places and events that we've been to publicly. It only takes one person that really takes this threat seriously to disrupt our lives or our family lives, and I just wanted to thank them very much. It's very reassuring with their support. Is that okay?
That's great.
Madam Chair, thank you so much. I yield the remainder of my time.
And congratulations to Commissioners Campy and Jenkins and Smith on your reelections and your new oaths of office this morning. I appreciated your remarks this morning and look forward to working with you in the future. Also, I don't know if this needs to be an agenda item or if someone can just give me an update on the status of the latest Kiplinger donation. I know that I read about the donation in my
You're talking
email.
about the property over
Kenner
by
Highway?
Veterans
Yeah.
Memorial? Yeah.
Is anybody, is that proceeding? Have we taken the deed? What's,
There was a press release that I saw, but I will follow up on it, Commissioner Hurd, let you know. There's a sign on the
do we
property
have,
already?
do we have the deed?
I'll find out. I
Okay.
don't know.
Thanks.
Administrator Christo.
No, ma'am, I'm good.
Attorney Woods? And then I just wanted to thank you all for your confidence in me and appreciate you and serving with you. And our next meeting will be December 8th, and happy Thanksgiving, because we will not see you until then. And the following meeting will be December 15th, and we are officially adjourned.